Subscribe, like, comment and share to support the channel. Thank you for the support. Team Lu had more wins than losses, and their points slowly piled up, raising their position in the ranks at an amazing speed. When the end of the month came, Team Lu achieved the first place in squad leader Ji Yaotang's team rankings, stunning everyone with their quick progress. They had earned the spot to participate in the final competition. Joel talks about how every time they enter the town at the end of the month, seeing the archaeological site really gets him in the feels. Watching each team progress and grow, even if it's just seeing the same faces again and again, he soon wonders how long it took for Lu's team to get from the bottom to the top of Jin's team rankings, since it was not easy to come out on top like that amongst 9 teams. Jel tells him that she had heard that Lu's team had used their points as bets. They had battled against other teams and wound up winning more than losing. She calls it a messy and desperate method, but she then points out to Jin that he himself didn't even try to stop them. Jin tells her that Lu's team had relied on their own strength to earn those points, so there was no reason for him to stop what they were doing. Their team already had Ang and Lu, and they were never weak to begin with either. When Jin had looked closely at all the members of the team, and the other 2, he realized that Snow and Tomo were pretty good too. The captains soon came to a stop in front of a door. Joel talks about how it was the first time in many years since a new squad joined the finals between the 3 teams. Word is spread to the point that everyone probably knows already. Jin then places his hand onto the door, telling the others that they should go as he opens it. The open door revealed a giant coliseum where numerous hunters were gathered together. Jin tells the others that they should look forward to see who will be the final champions in this competition. A young lady is surprised to learn that a new unnamed squad managed to rise in ranks to reach the finals. She wonders what Captain Jin had given to his teams for them to get strong so quickly. It turns out that this young lady belongs to the top team from Captain Gel. It was called the Starflower Squad. She appears to be the team leader as her members tell her to not let the other hear what she just said. A young blonde man is seen sitting down with a cocky look on his face. Free experience points for our boy. The blonde man continues to tell his team that Captain Jin's highest ranking team is actually a newbie squad. He though that the captains were trying to scare them by exaggerating things, but they found out it was true. This was Captain Joel's winning team, the Brilliant Squad. Tomo is seen stretching her body while also spying on the other teams with her camera. She noted that the teams looked like they were ready to go. Snow informs them that the Starflower and Brilliant Squads were the strongest teams under squad leaders Joel and Gel, and were also pretty famous in Helios City. He also explains the rumor that the next 3 squad leaders, specifically, the 3 squad leaders that'll take over squad leader Jin's position, will be selected from amongst them. An wonders if they were that amazing. If so, their teamwork need to work a little harder. An continues to think that even though his body was a weakness, thanks to his secret ability, he should be able to fight against someone with the strength of a one-fin core warrior, such as squad leader Jin. He smiles over the fact that it shouldn't be a problem for his team to get first place. Rather, An was more curious about what the captains would be rewarding them with. Our favorite mommy starts to walk into the arena. She calls out to the children to gather around her. The girl squad called Starflower were the first ones to come over to her. The girls tell her that the Starflower squad was ready to take first place, and that they wanted an extra reward if they got to first place this time. The other girls wanted Gel to bring them to the Brink city to buy some clothes. A mocking voice appears, asking if the greatest goal of the Starflower squad was just to simply buy clothes at a Brink city. Amazing, the voice said in a mocking tone. Gel and the girl squad turned to see who it was. It was the young blonde man. He walks up to them, telling them that his team was looking forward to seeing stronger warriors in the Brink cities so that they could spare with them. The girls were angry over his remarks, shouting at him that he didn't know what he was talking about. They explained to him that buying clothes was equally important to girls. You dumb bastard. The girls continued to whisper amongst themselves, calling the Brilliant Squad annoying and that their squads could never get along. You young fellows have so much energy, said another voice. It appears that Captain Jin and Joel have finally arrived as well. Joel looks at the squads and teases them, asking them if they were going to fight till they fell for each other. Both team leaders were disgusted by remarks, asking him why he was always thinking about such flirty things. As the captains and squads talked to one another, Jin's attention was pulled elsewhere. He looks at Lu's team and tells them to gather around as well. Lu agrees and tells her squad to move. Soon enough all the squads were gathered in front of the captains. Jin tells them that he was sure that everyone here knew quite a bit about each other, so he wouldn't be doing any introductions. He explains to them that the finals have 2 segments, and are split into a team competition and a solo battle. Points will be used to determine the winner. Jel continues on with the explanation, stating that for the rules and further details, they'll tell them more once the competition begins. To inspire them all to fight harder, the captains will be showing them this competition's reward. With a wink and a smile, she tells them that she knew all of them would aim for first place to get the reward, so they made sure that the competition's reward will not disappoint. Joel takes over to announce the rewards. He tells them that the competition's first place will be able to stay and intern at brink City for a week. All the members of the squads cheered loudly upon hearing the reward. They couldn't believe that they got the chance to go to a brink City and were even more motivated to get first place, but Ang was confused by the loud cheers. Snow couldn't believe that the reward was actually going to a brink City, so he asks Tomo about what she wanted to do if she got there. Tomo tells him that she would be buying a better camera. The cheers soon ended as Jean tells the team leaders to come and draw their lots. As the team leader of each squad walked up, their members still couldn't believe that the reward was the brink City, as they have heard that those cities had more things compared to C-ranked cities. Ang continued to think on his own as the others started to talk about the rumors about brink cities. They heard that there might be 2 Fin Corps warriors in those cities. Those warriors were then considered even more stronger than their squad leaders. The warriors were looking forward to meeting the 2 Fin warriors, but Ang continued to think about how there were still a lot of things that he didn't understand after reincarnating half a century later. He didn't even know about brink cities, as back in his time, his cities were never split into ranks. They were all fighting for themselves and fighting to survive. He recalled that Snow had told him that Helios City was a C-ranked city, and that was one of the lowest ranks. After that comes B-ranked city, then A-ranked city. City ranks were assessed based on the warriors' strength and ability levels. Those with 1 Fin Corps and 2 Fin Corps warriors are ranked as C-ranked cities, whereas those with 2 Fin Corps and 3 Fin Corps warriors were ranked as B-ranked cities. Those with 3 Fin or 4 Fin, maybe even 5 Fned Corps warriors are categorized as A-ranked cities. The city that assess all these cities is the only S-ranked city, the Breaking Dawn City. It was also called the City of Hope, and is situated right in the center. The Breaking Dawn City is supposed to be enormous. Not only do they have 5 Fin and 6 Fin Corps warriors, they also have the strongest 7 Fin Corps warrior. It's the city with the strongest people. Could only think about how the S-ranked city, the Breaking Dawn City, sounded pretty flashy. He wonders how good it'd be compared to the city he led previously. But after that huge battle 60 years ago, he wonders if the city he led still exists. And those comrades of his. Ang felt saddened over the thought of his old friends, but a voice soon calls out to him. Snow and Tomo appeared by his sides, telling Ang that he really likes to daydream. Tomo tells him to stop spacing out, pointing to Lu while telling him that it was their turn to shine. Lu picks the slot and reveals to her team that they were first. Soon enough it was Team Brilliance against Lu's team. The announcement stated that all the weapons have been changed into training weapons, and that this round's battle is the Brilliance squad against Team Lu. Tomo wonders if they should think of a really cool squad name as well, since they have yet to get their squad title. Snow agrees with her that they needed to come up with a great squad name so that when they tell others it would sound cool. An agrees with both of them and tells them that they should discuss this after fighting. Lu on the other hand was feeling nervous for the upcoming battle. A team as lazy as this still wants to get first place? Questioned the blonde man. He tells his squad to listen up. He orders them to find a person to target on the enemy team by themselves, as he was personally going to fight against team leader Lu. Understood, responded his teammates. The captains were seen above them as Jean raises his hand. He shouts out that the competition starts now. Upon hearing those words, the blonde man orders his men to scatter out. Lu sees this and immediately knew what he was doing. Her mind wonders if he wanted to do solo battles. It was a good plan if their strength was higher than theirs. But sadly, Lu's team had decided to fight together. An noted that it seemed like Lu knew about the strategy that the other team was going for their squad. They would get the best result by attacking the leader immediately. The biggest weakness of a solo battle is that you're only fighting for yourself. If the team leader falls, the others will also lose their morale. An was impressed by Lu for well assessing that. A member of the other team wonders if they should attack Lu first. Then they decided to change tactics, flank them, surround them completely. Change of plans. We'll get the leader first. Our target is sit to Lu, were the orders given as 3 of the other team leaps onto Lu as she ran. But she remained calm and gave out her own orders. Remain as a group, cover. Hearing those commands immediately sets Tomo, Snow and Ang to block the attacks from the other team from reaching Lu. The blonde was surprised to see this, but he prepares himself, asking Lu if she really thought that she could take him down. "Don't you dare look down on me," he shouts. He soon braces himself and lunges forward towards Lu. The others could be seen in the background fighting the other members. As Lu leaped towards the blonde man, a shining red orb light appears in his hand. He looks at Lu with a smile and tells her to come at him, but then he places his arm with the red orb in front of himself, telling her to get obliterated by this light attack. Everyone on the battlefield took notice of that bright light. Lu covers herself with her arms, turning around to tell her team to close their eyes and to protect themselves. Lu couldn't believe that the blonde man could concentrate energy into his hands and make them explode with light, but to her surprise, even his own teammates were affected by his light attack. Jean covers his eyes from the light, knowing that the young man still likes to use that kind of attack and fighting style till now. He then questions Joel about why he didn't warn him about it, as the blonde man's light techniques is great in solo battle, but if it's a team match, it'll also affect his teammates. Joel tells Jean that he had told the blonde man many times, but he just refuses to listen to him. Joel guesses that he still needs to encounter a setback for him to actually make changes to his fighting style. The blonde man spins the knife in his hand, thinking that a newbie like Lu couldn't possibly take on his light attack right on her face. He figures that her team won't have any fighting power after he finishes her off. He finally takes a swing to Lu as she covered her eyes from the blinding light attack. The blonde man didn't care that she was from the Sidhu family either, but another hand appears and blocks his attack to Lu. Ong had appeared and intercepted the blonde man's attack with ease as he stood between him and Lu. "Oi," said Ong as he wore glasses made up of water. He questions the blonde man on his technique, asking him if he didn't think about how his technique would affect his teammates. With his leg raised high into the air, Ong strikes the left shoulder of the blonde man with enough strength that it causes the ground beneath them to break into pieces, but the attack seemed to have no effect as the blonde man was able to get away from Ong. He looks at him and questions when he made the visors that he wore out of water. Ong tells him that fighting in a team match without even considering his teammates was a terrible idea. The visors that Ong was wearing were made of water, which is reflective and thick, cutting off most of the bright light. Ong thought to himself that utilizing the water element, which is usually for absorption, to reduce the blinding attack was a great idea. Lu had finally touched ground after the light had vanished, but she was surprised to see that Ong stood in front of her. Her eyes were open wide, wondering when he stood in front. He turns to leave but tells her that he was going to leave the rest to Lu, so she could finish him off. Lu looks over to the blonde man who was holding onto the area where Ong had kicked him, thinking if Ong had managed to beat him, and wonders if he did it when everyone was blinded. She finally thought of Ong as not being so bad as they crossed paths. She immediately takes the chance that Ong had given her to rush over to the blonde man in an instant. The blonde man was surprised to see that Lu still dared to rush to him like this. It made him determined to blast her again with his light attack, but as he tried to move his arm, he realized that he couldn't. He blames it on the weird guy called Ong who had managed to dislocate his shoulder by kicking it. Being unable to move his arm allowed Lu to give him a powerful blow to his stomach. She tells him that he was right, that battle should be finished quickly. She continues to land an endless barrage of punches onto the blonde man. Meanwhile, Ong was very relaxed. He had just helped Snow and Tomo here and there, but they were pretty good martial artists themselves. They started to get better and better at their battles, but a sound soon catches their attentions. Lu stood over the beat blonde man's body, telling his team that their team leader had lost, and questioned them on whether they still wanted to fight her team. Seeing that their team leader had lost made them lose their morale, so the remaining team members decided to give up. "It's finished," announced Jean. Joel on the other hand tells him that they had expected this. Jel notices that Ong has yet to use that ability of his. Jean continued to remain silent as he watches the battle. The members of the Starflower squad were shocked at what just happened. "You lost," shouted their captain as she asked them if they were serious. She wonders if it was because of Situlu and whether she really was that amazing. The blonde man was still being prideful and told her that they had just underestimated them. He informs them that they were up next, so as their longtime rival, the blonde man wanted to give them a fair warning. Lu's team had gathered together once again for the next battle. The leader of the Starflower squad could only think that her mood had been ruined by what Brilliance had said and called it annoying. Jel tells them from above that Team Lu will be up against the Starflower squad. All weapons have been changed into training weapons, so let the battle begin. The Starflower squad moved out at once, as their captain tells them to not be fazed by what Brilliance had said. All they needed to do was follow accordingly to what they've trained. They mustn't mess up their formation. The team members hears the commands and responded that they understood. Snow sees them coming and started to charge up. He needed to put all of strength into this single punch, so he lets it rip. He swings his fist with his yellow powers into the ground. It sent shockwaves throughout the arena as it breaks the ground beneath them while providing a shield cover his team. An was impressed by this as it provided him with a cover to use his green powers. Rise! He shouts as the wooden branches started to appear from below the ground. The Starflower Squad was alarmed to see this, wondering where the tree roots had come from as it entangles them. An could only smile as he could see that it was working. It seems to him that the powers he had absorbed from the demon could still work, since he had gotten wood and water. He didn't know what other elements were left. Our boy is slowly becoming the Avatar. Lu then calls out to Snow, who immediately responds to her call. He takes the chance to instantly leap towards the Starflower Squad. Covered with his shield, he reaches them in an instant. Seeing coming causes the members of the Starflower Squad to dodge it and scatter from their formation. The leader gave out commands to spread out and regroup quickly, but knew that they had been forced out of their formation. Soon enough, the two waifus appeared in front of her for a joint attack. They combined their kicks to attack the squad leader, who manages to block their attacks. As she blocked Lu and Tomo's attack, she turns to her team to ask for help, but all she could see was that An and Snow were busted fighting them. An had managed to solo fight two of her members, which the team leader sees. She recalls the warning from the Brilliant Squad, where the blonde man warns her to be careful of the one they called An. Based on his own assessment, he noted that An was probably the strongest in their team. He compared An to a chess master who managed to connect the entire battlefield together. Tomo then appears right in the face of the team leader. She tells her that she needed to keep her focus on her and Lu. "And what if I don't?" shouted the team leader as she reveals to them that she was an agility user. But this doesn't faze Tomo, as she instantly reappears behind her, telling her that she was an ability user as well. With her thick legs spinning in the air, she manages to place the team leader into a headlock with her legs. Lucky girl. Lu's team cheered on that they had won and complimented Tomo for a job well done. Jel informs the other captains that this battle was finished too. Joel adds on that Lu's team had won all of their battles in this team competition. The scene changes to the competition solo battles. The captains inform the squads that next up were the solo battles, so they were given the chance to challenge any member of any group. Both team leaders of the Brilliance and Starflower Squad gave each other the cooperative bombastic side-eye to one another. They announced together with their fingers pointed at Ang that they wanted to challenge Team Lu's Ang. Jean informs them that solo battles are done 1 versus 1, so he asks them about which one of them will go first, but Ang cuts him off saying it was no worries, and that in order to conserve time, he asks the both team leaders to fight him together instead. Absolute Giga Chad Mad Lad. Thanks for watching the latest part from the voice of Manhwa. Subscribe for more content and don't forget to comment below what you want to see in the future. Like and share for more.